coming from Jay-Z. Like Jay-Z was trying to basically, it may sound outrageous, but he felt like Jay-Z wanted to get him killed for whatever reason.
That would be like me being on Joe Rogan. Joe don't want me on there. I need to be on Shannon. Joe got 6 comedians that never been funny. He wanna.
Joe Rogan and Katt Williams just blew the lid off Hollywood. And this time, they've got Jay-Z and Beyoncé right in the crosshairs. According to them, this power couple isn't just dominating the scene. They're allegedly pulling every string behind the curtain. From silencing folks who step out of line to icing out entire careers. Even whispers about people close to them getting sacrificed. These claims are outrageous, but they're catching fire fast. And it ain't just Rogan and Katt stirring the pot. More and more celebs are speaking out, and their stories are starting to line up like puzzle pieces. We're diving into 8 big names that Jay-Z and Beyoncé allegedly cut off, shut up, or even worse, all to protect their throne at the top of the game. It all started bubbling again because of Diddy's list. Yeah, that list. The one that allegedly exposes rappers and industry elites who were around when Diddy was doing all kinds of shady stuff. Sources say this list is packed with bombshells that could shake up Hollywood, and Jay-Z and Beyoncé's names are being whispered in those same circles. We're talking about secrets that could end careers, erase legacies, and maybe even bring some folks face to face with the law. Insiders say this list has names of A-listers who built their empires on clean images. But now, the cracks are starting to show. And with Rogan straight up saying Hollywood's elites aren't strangers to dirt, it's no wonder some celebs are suddenly selling off homes and flying out of the country before things heat up. And then there's Katt Williams, who's never backed down from dropping truth bombs about Hollywood's dark underbelly. He says this ain't just about one list. This is about a whole pattern of power moves, cover-ups, and straight-up silence that's cost people their careers, and maybe even their lives. Katt isn't just throwing names around. He's trying to show the world how the game really works behind closed doors. But here's where things get even crazier. Joe Rogan recently posted a video where he hints at a rumored romantic situation between Diddy and Jay-Z. Yep, you read that right. Now people are asking questions about Jay-Z's loyalty to Beyoncé. Word is, the couple is keeping things diplomatic. But behind the scenes, nobody knows for sure. It's got fans and insiders raising their eyebrows. Let's not forget Dame Dash. He wasn't just Jay-Z's business partner. He was like family. Together, they built Rockefeller from scratch and ran the game. But once Jay-Z started blowing up on a solo level, Dame got pushed out, not just from the label, but from the entire circle. Sources say Jay used his growing power to ice Dame out of some major moves, including Def Jam talks and brand deals. Between 2002 and 2004, Dame was still doing his thing, launching companies, signing new artists, and living like a king. He was working with future legends like Kanye West, Cameron, and Beanie Siegel. Rockefeller even made it through 9/11. The same day Jay dropped the blueprint. Jay-Z had beat charges. Rocawear was exploding with 5 different fashion lines raking in over $350 to $450 million a year in sales. Dame was even producing movies, like the critically acclaimed The Woodsman with Kevin Bacon. He had it all: a Beverly Hills mansion, a Tribeca loft, a $35,000 a month London apartment, private chefs, bodyguards, and a $400,000 Maybach. Dude was living like royalty. He even had a wild rule: only wore his shoes, socks, jeans, and shirts once before tossing them. But under all that flash, there was tension with the one person who mattered most, Jay-Z. Word is, Jay got tired of Dame's ego and constant paranoia. Folks at Rockefeller, Def Jam, and Rocawear were walking on eggshells, scared of Dame's explosive temper over even the smallest things. Dame Dash was out here firing top-tier execs like it was nothing, burning bridges in every direction. Meanwhile, Jay-Z was sliding further and further away from their shared empire. Damon started getting salty, especially once Jay linked up with Def Jam boss Liar Cohen, a move Dame did not vibe with. Between 2002 and 2004, whispers turned loud. Dame and Jay weren't just drifting, they weren't even talking. The breaking point? A massive clash over a wild $3 million ad campaign Damon wanted to drop for Armadale Vodka, featuring Kevin Bacon and Naomi Campbell. Jay and Kareem Biggs Burke said nope, and after that, things were straight up ice cold. Dame got pushed out of major meetings, and about his own artists, the writing was on the wall. Then came Christmas Eve, 2004. Jay hit up Dame to meet at this fancy Italian spot in Manhattan called Da Silvano. Sounded innocent, but what went down was ruthless. The trio behind Rockefeller had already agreed to sell the label to Def Jam for $10 million. So cool, right? Wrong. That night, Dame found out the ugly part of the deal. Each founder would get $3 million, but only Jay-Z would be crowned president of Def Jam. And it didn't stop there. Jay also told Dame he couldn't keep the Rockefeller name. Cold move. And then came the ultimate backstab. Rockefeller artists were given a choice: roll with Jay at Def Jam or jump ship with Dame to a new label he was putting together. Most, including rising legend Kanye West, chose Jay without hesitation. The few artists that stayed loyal to Dame, their albums flopped hard. His new label crumbled before it even got off the ground. Even though they both still held a 25% stake in Rocawear, things got real tense. After the whole Armadale ad fallout, Dame was called to a meeting in a hotel suite in NYC. When he asked why they weren't at the Rocawear office, someone told him, "So no one will hear you scream." That was the vibe. By the time the meeting ended, Damon Dash was officially out. They bought him out of Rocawear for $22 million, but reports say he only walked away with about $7 million in actual cash. Between 2004 and 2009, Dame launched project after project, and most of them flopped. His new label, Rock La Familia, went under. His fashion line, the Damon Dash collection, gone. His wife divorced him. He got slapped with a $15 million lawsuit. Things spiraled fast. By April 2009, the same man who once had an estimated net worth of $50 million was completely broke. In court during his divorce, he told a judge he owed $2 million in back taxes and was about to lose not one, but 2 NYC apartments to foreclosure. He got hit with lawsuits from law firms and creditors all over New York. Even his Chevy Tahoe got repossessed. He couldn't keep up with the $700 monthly payments. Eventually, Dame had to pack up and leave his $9 million Tribeca crib. It got sold off in foreclosure for just $5.5 million. That was a brutal fall from grace. Meanwhile, Jay-Z was leveling up. He sold Rocawear to Iconic's brand group for a staggering $219 million. He crushed it at Def Jam, dropped more hit albums, and in 2008 inked a $150 million mega deal with Live Nation. Today, Jay-Z's not just a mogul. He's married to Beyoncé and sitting on a personal net worth of around $475 million. Dame? He's still out here grinding, trying to make a comeback. But whether he ever gets close to his old glory, that's the million-dollar question. And just when you thought it couldn't get messier, remember when Jay-Z and R. Kelly were tight enough to tour together? Yeah, until they weren't. The fallout from the Best of Both Worlds tour was just the beginning of another wild chapter. When the heat turned up on R. Kelly, Jay-Z cut ties fast, like he never even knew him. He dropped that Say Her Name remix and suddenly jumped on the moral high ground. But here's the twist. While R. Kelly's name has been dragged through every headline imaginable, insiders are whispering that he might not be the only one with secrets locked in the vault. According to some deep industry voices, R. Kelly might have been the fall guy, taking all the heat for a system that's way darker than the public ever imagined. And now that he's behind bars, sick, isolated, and vulnerable, folks are saying the silence around him isn't a coincidence. It's strategy. And just when you think it couldn't get any more disturbing, reports say R. Kelly collapsed in his prison cell. His legal team says it wasn't no accident. His attorney, Bobby Brinley, dropped a bomb, saying the 58-year-old was found unresponsive in solitary confinement after allegedly being pumped with a dangerous dose of meds at a federal facility in North Carolina. Within just 48 hours of being put in isolation, Kelly started showing signs of OD, dizziness, blurry vision, then full-on collapse. He had to be rushed to Duke University Hospital, and doctors reportedly confirmed the dosage was enough to end a life. Brinley's not sugarcoating anything. He straight up said this wasn't a paperwork mix-up or mistake. In his words, they gave him an amount of medicine that could have killed him. And here's where things start setting fire to the internet. 2 days before this happened, Kelly's legal team had already filed an emergency motion, warning the court that his life was in danger. So now folks are asking, was it retaliation? Conspiracy boards are lit right now, and guess who's being dragged into the mix? Jay-Z. Yep, people are saying he might have had a hand in getting Kelly locked up. Not only did he allegedly support that explosive doc that played a major role in Kelly's trial, but some claim he might have been having quiet talks with the feds behind closed doors. Is that real? If it is, how far down does this rabbit hole go? Here's the latest. R. Kelly's trying to get the Supreme Court to toss out his convictions for those disturbing charges involving young individuals. His lawyers say those alleged crimes happened way too long ago, back in the 90s, and shouldn't even be valid under current laws. They're pointing at the PROTECT Act, which was introduced in 2003. This act allows for an unlimited statute of limitations, but only for crimes that happened after 2003. Kelly's team is arguing it shouldn't apply retroactively. Now, if the Supreme Court even considers this appeal, things could spiral quick, and Jay-Z's name might come up in ways he didn't expect, especially if his past ain't as spotless as it looks. Some industry sources are saying Jay-Z had known about R. Kelly's behavior for years, but only ditched him when it started hurting his brand. Others claim he helped flip the switch that blacklisted R. Kelly across the industry, letting him burn while the Carter empire stayed squeaky clean in the public eye. And just when you think it's only about the guys, here comes another name that got mysteriously pushed out of the spotlight. Donasha 10 Nash was this close to blowing up. She had the voice, the fan base, and a unique sound that set her apart. But then, she vanished. No explanation, no farewell album, just gone. Word on the street is, Beyoncé's team allegedly saw her as a rising threat to the throne and made sure her momentum stopped cold. No smoke without fire, right? Word on the street is Tinashe refused to play second fiddle, and that didn't sit right with Queen Bey's inner circle. Rumors say she didn't want to be the backup act, the side chick in pop's elite game. And apparently, that was all it took to get her shut out. Sources claim Jay-Z used his influence over radio bosses and streaming platforms to bury her drops, block her promo, and keep her off the biggest stages in music. The message? Don't challenge the throne unless you're ready to disappear. Her debut single, 2 On, had the whole game watching. A certified hit that had everyone thinking she was next up in R&B and pop. But just as fast as she rose, her career momentum hit a wall. That's when Tinashe started speaking out, saying she felt controlled, boxed out of her own decisions, and kept in the dark about the direction of her career. She even hinted that higher powers were working against her, saying, "People who didn't want me to succeed, people I never even met." And then came the shade. Despite getting tour spots with Katy Perry and Nicki Minaj, and even collabing with Britney Spears, Janet Jackson handpicked her to perform at the 2015 BET Awards tribute. Still, she felt the love was conditional. When it came to support from male artists, crickets. She put it bluntly, male artists don't really co-sign female artists like that. And if they do, it's always like, are they messing around? It's never just, yo, I love her music. She wasn't buying the narrative that there's only space for 1 or 2 successful black female artists at a time, and she called it out loud and clear. She recalled a convo that hit hard. My cousin was with a friend of a friend in high school, and the girl said, I'm a Kehlani fan, so I can't be a fan of Tinashe too. Her friend clapped back, why not both? But it was clear, people felt forced to choose sides, like it was a sport. That's when Tinashe's usual chill persona slipped, and the frustration showed. There are hundreds of male rappers who all look and sound the same, and they all get space. But if you're a black woman, you're either Beyoncé or Rihanna. That's it. It's so strange. She never name-dropped, but fans started connecting the dots, especially when her career stalled right after she started speaking her truth. Then, we got Nicki Minaj, another queen who's dominated charts for years, but oddly enough, never really linked up with Beyoncé besides their Feeling Myself track. Fans have noticed that cold silence between them, and the whispers? They're saying Bey's camp might have quietly blackballed Nicki behind the scenes, and Nicki, she ain't staying quiet either. Right after Beyoncé posted new promo shots for her Sir Davis campaign, Nicki hopped on X, formerly Twitter, and dropped a cryptic post, "Robot on timing." The post vanished fast, but people immediately thought it was a shot at Beyoncé. If you know Nicki, you know she's the queen of code names for her enemies, so fans started putting pieces together. What's even more wild is Nicki's been dragging Jay-Z too. After Kendrick Lamar got announced as the Apple Music Super Bowl 2025 halftime headliner in New Orleans, folks online went off. A lot of fans felt like that spotlight should have gone to hometown legend Lil Wayne, and Nicki was one of the loudest voices in the mix. Since then, she's aired out her beef with the show's top execs, including Jay-Z and his longtime ally Steve Stout. Social media's been heating up, and Nicki's not letting up. Lately, she's been throwing direct shots at Jay-Z and Beyoncé, questioning how anyone can stay tight with someone who very openly hates your spouse. Now that's a bold statement, and it's got fans buzzing like never before. One user commented, "How does that even work? Because if you say something about her man, it's war." Another added, "When you come for somebody's husband, just know his wife will never deal with you again. I wouldn't, and I'd tell you to take it up with me since you a woman too." But some folks think it cuts way deeper, that Beyoncé didn't want Nicki's influence outshining her own. With Nicki's ride-or-die fan base and bold attitude, rumors started flying. Collabs blocked, invites pulled, and PR teams allegedly told to keep Nicki out of Beyoncé-related events. Even worse, word is Jay-Z might have worked behind the scenes to keep Nicki from locking down brand deals that Beyoncé had her eyes on. That's cold. Now brace yourself, this next one's emotional and messy. A growing crowd of fans is calling for the Aaliyah case to be reopened. They say she still hasn't gotten the justice she deserves. Jaguar Wright recently spoke on Aaliyah's tragic death and added fuel to the fire with a shocking claim. She said Beyoncé's solo career wasn't really taking off until Aaliyah passed. According to Wright, that heartbreaking moment became a twisted turning point that pushed Beyoncé straight into the spotlight, the moment that supposedly made her untouchable. As Aaliyah's legacy fades from the mainstream, some fans are wondering, did Beyoncé's rise come at a devastating cost? Aaliyah was one of a kind. The voice, the look, the vibe, and her style still inspires today. Some believe Beyoncé may have even modeled parts of her image after Aaliyah, and it doesn't stop there. In an interview, Damon Dash dropped major tea, claiming Jay-Z had intentions toward Aaliyah that weren't exactly pure. Even more explosive, he suggested Jay had something to do with Aaliyah being linked to R. Kelly in the first place. Was that just bitterness talking, or was he revealing something darker? That beef between Dash and Jay-Z over the R. Kelly connection traces back to one seriously disturbing chapter. The surviving R. Kelly doc revived attention on the alleged marriage between R. Kelly and Aaliyah when she was just 15 years old. It was reportedly a cover-up for rumors that Kelly had not only engaged in inappropriate behavior with her, but allegedly got her pregnant. Aaliyah was only 22 when she died in that tragic plane crash in 2001 while shooting the Rock the Boat video in the Bahamas. The plane was overloaded and crashed shortly after takeoff, taking 9 lives. But even before that, there were signs something wasn't right. One of Kelly's former backup singers swore she saw a 27-year-old Kelly being physically inappropriate with a then 15-year-old Aaliyah on a tour bus. That story still sends chills. And here's the thing. For years, the industry tried to spin their disturbing relationship into some kind of tragic love story. Official records show they really did get married in 1994 in an illegal ceremony when she was just 15. It was annulled, fast. But both sides denied it ever happened. Now we know better. The truth. Aaliyah was a minor, and Kelly was a grown man in a position of power. There was no romance, just straight-up exploitation. And the responsibility was on him. But plot twist, later reports said Jay-Z, not Kelly, had also been romantically involved with Aaliyah. That revelation hit the internet like a bombshell. And then there's Aaliyah Carter. Yeah, you probably never heard of her. That's the point. Online rumors claim she was an up-and-coming artist who got way too close to the industry's dark secrets. Once she stopped playing by the rules and maybe even pushed back against the Carter empire, poof, her career vanished before it could begin. Was she a threat? A pawn? Or a warning shot to anyone else thinking of going rogue? Then we got Da Brat, loud, proud, and always speaking her truth. But in Jay-Z's world, that don't fly. Sources say she backed folks considered enemies of Roc Nation. And after that, the industry hit the brakes hard. Projects stalled, endorsements dried up, and she was iced out. That silence around Da Brat, some say Jay's long reach had something to do with it. And what about Saigon? He came into the game hot, raw bars, real messages, street energy. But just as fast as he showed up, he was gone. He's hinted at being blackballed, but never dropped names. Still, the whispers all point to the same crew, Roc Nation. His political messages, his refusal to go commercial, his issues with label execs, it all seemed to lead back to Jay-Z's camp. Step out of line, and the door slams shut. Another one silenced? When it comes to Jay-Z and Beyoncé, the spotlight burns bright, but the shadow they cast might be even darker. Friends turned foes, rising stars gone quiet, business partners turned broke. And now Joe Rogan and Katt Williams are speaking out? This might just be the beginning. So, what do you believe? Coincidence? Or a carefully curated empire protected at all costs? Hit that like button if you're still with us. Subscribe to catch more deep dives into the industry's biggest secrets, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to know what you think. This story's done for now. But the truth? It's still unraveling. Until next time, stay woke, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.